Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me here on WLBT Plus. My name is Kara Shirley and I am your digital news desk host. We are currently waiting for the sentencing to begin for Jordan Cummins. He was found guilty last week by a jury in Hinds County of first degree murder, 2 counts of first degree murder. He murdered 27-year-old Joshua Spann and then 23-year-old Jubilee Simpkins in March of 2023 at the St. House or near the House St. Patty's Day parade here in Jackson. The trial or the sentencing should be coming up in just a moment. It was originally supposed to start at 1 and then it was rescheduled to begin at 1:30. So we are just waiting for that to begin. And as soon as it does, we're going to take you straight to the courtroom so that you can watch as he is sentenced. So right now, he faces 2 life sentences because he was found guilty on 2 counts of first degree murder. And Judge Faye Peterson is going to be deciding today whether or not those life sentences will run concurrently or whether they will run consecutively. Now, in the trial of this case, the defense argued that this was a case of self-defense. However, that is not what was found to have happened. The defense said that Jordan only pulled his gun out because he was a group of men came around him and they had pulled their weapons first. But there was evidence that showed the contrary to that. That, as a matter of fact, that Cummins is the one that fired first, and in his shooting, he killed Joshua Spann and Jubilee Simpkins. I want to show you the 2 that lost their lives in this right now. This is Joshua Spann. Again, he was 27 years old when he died in March of 2023, and then Jubilee Simpkins. This is her, and she was 23 years old when she died. So right now, like I said, what we're waiting for is for them to come up and the courtroom. So that should be happening here in just a moment. It was set to start at 1:30, and we do have Morgan Harris, who has been following this. She is there in the courtroom as our reporter there. She's going to have an in-depth story on this tonight on our newscast, so make sure you are tuned in, and she will have more information on that. So I am checking into this, and give me 1 second, guys. I will be right back. All right, guys, I am back, and like I said, we are waiting for that sentencing to get started here in Hinds County. Judge Faye Peterson is going to be deciding today whether or not Jordan Cummins' life sentences are going to run concurrently or consecutively. Again, he was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder last week by a Hinds County jury. And right now, we're just waiting for that to come up and to happen in the courtroom. We have Morgan Harris there that is watching, and we will be going live straight to that courtroom here in just a moment. A lot of you are here tuned in on Facebook, and I do appreciate you tuning in. Hannah Martin here says that prayers for both of the families today during this sentencing. Uh, Morgan got the opportunity to speak with the families of Jubilee and Joshua last week after the trial ended and the jury came back with that guilty verdict. And his father, Joshua's father, was so overcome with emotion that he could not even speak. Someone had to come up and speak for him. And this is a very I guess probably a mixture of emotions for the family, I would imagine, because while the person who is responsible for the deaths is getting justice according to our legal system, it's not going to bring these people back who lost their lives, these beautiful people. And we have Jubilee Simpkins. She was 23 years old when she passed away. And then we have Joshua Spann, who was 27 years old when he passed away because of Jordan Cummins and him making the decision that day to pull a gun out and shoot, and those two people lost their lives. So we are coming up here in just a moment. We're going to be taking you straight into the courtroom where we're going to be able to watch the sentencing, see what Judge Faye Peterson has to say regarding this. I imagine that there will be some family statements that are given. And as soon as that comes up, we're going to take you straight into that courtroom. Looks like we got it coming up here. Here we go. I'm going to take you into that courtroom now. So we are getting set up there. You can see Joshua Spann right there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just made some adjustments. If you feel uncomfortable and you shoulder to shoulder, you need a little bit more room. Judge will go ahead and write out the plea, especially y'all standing up. We'll go ahead and sit in the jury box. So I got 12 seats over there. So I can do 12.
So we see Joshua there in the courtroom awaiting his sentencing by Judge Faye Peterson. He was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder last week, and now his sentencing is happening today, and it will begin here in just a few minutes. So we are going to take that straight into the courtroom now.
Is anyone sitting on this side to my left that is a part of the victim family? It is? Okay. Is anybody that's sitting on this side that's not a part of the victim family? You know? Come on now. My job is sitting in the jury box over here. Walk all the way down to the end where the baby is. Take that left and sit in the jury box. Man, you can't stand up. You have to sit in the jury box. Wlbt is one of the top 3 staples I've watched on these. All right.
All right, you all may be seated. All right, we're now on the record in Crossman 23-514, counts 1 and 2, State of Mississippi versus Jordan Cummins. All right, we're here this afternoon on the jury having found Mr. Cummins guilty in count 1 and count 2 of first-degree murder. Before we begin, I do want to allow the opportunity for anyone on behalf of the victim who might want to be heard, victim's family, and also the same amount of time will be allowed on behalf of the defendant. Although in each count, the sentence is mandatory as to life, the court has to make the determination as to whether or not the sentence will be served concurrent or consecutive. I ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes. And I ask my staff attorney to give us a 1-minute warning on that. Does the Spain of anyone who'd like to be heard on behalf of the victim Joshua Spain?
The victim Joshua's been put on this.
No.
Yes, ma'am. If you'll just come inside the bar. No, ma'am, you have to come inside.
But I don't want to be on the news, so it's already been friendly. But
Ma'am, it is improper to address the court. If you would just, don't worry about it. The only person here is you and I.
yes, ma'am, thank you very much.
And what was your relationship to Mr. Spain?
I'm just okay.
So I'm assuming you have something to express to the court on behalf of your nephew.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you previously, because I watch you when I'm not, I'm not the perfect person. I have made mistakes. I'm not gonna bash anyone, because we're the people now. And I know we make mistakes. I'm not gonna bash, I'm gonna talk bad. I'm here in behalf of my police officer. Gosh, she's gonna make able to make. I watched this trial go on media personally. My mother can't make it. We don't have her. But I come here to let you know and the rest of the public know. Please have this right here for family purposes. Please leave this situation alone. Let's let the law and the Lord take it. The Lord, first of all, and the law take this on into hand. He's gonna give it account. Like I said, we make mistakes. I understand it and I watched it. I appreciate everyone patient. It's real hard for this, hard on other family too. And like I said, I don't say no here. There's nowhere to sit when God sends us up there. We can see God sends us right. So I appreciate everyone, and also you for being firm. My soul tells me when someone is genuine and fair, and I watched it, like I said, from the bun being provoked everything, and I appreciate the family also on Jubilee, the candidates, Mr. Mixer, and Skipper. It's been hard. Telling you, it's been over a year. Just over. I lost son at the age of 16. By way of being making a teacher pregnant, and I'm not gonna have it at that age of 16. We made mistakes. We can't go around. We have to give an account. And like I said, I want to appreciate everybody in the courts and just, it's got, mistakes happen. I'm not gonna blame no one or whatever, but when we pick up guns and stuff, we get angry, because I'm one that get angry. There's pieces that I'm working on it at my age. Some that's necessary. We can't fight every battle. Anger will make you do things that you want. One mistake can cause this here. I feel sorry because I've been living this is suffering enough in those walls that he's going to. It's not gonna be easy, especially if you live through it. He did, we did. So again, from a person that went to prison by mistake, it's the hardest thing in the world to live out the consequences. I have no door. You have to raise your hand. You use the restroom or something. You gotta go back, you gotta listen. You're gonna go by somebody's room or it's comfortable. So, and it's his auntie that helped raise it. My sister also. My heart can't take it. I just want to thank everyone that helped me. My apology goes to you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat or whatever we done. And I don't blame you. Like, I don't understand. And the mistake is probably was good. We weren't expecting to see what we did on the process. I pray for you, could you know, and I see you just 38 and you're at 35, and I'm just 30. Yeah, you're 16. Like I said, I ain't mad at you, I ain't been yet. But mad, no. I pray for you. I pray for this. I you stay safe. My heart will after you. Try to hold up and fix this business. Oh, thank God, make miracles happen. You in there. Go in there. Might open the door. God open the door. God open the door. Believe it, God. I thought that. I really where I can see. A lot of things that I can't see. So, like I said, you got me in the coach. My son in the coach. Take time out doors. You know, get on video, you get encouraged and make it worse. You can make it worse. You know, so I come to hate you, but I can't. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna say anything. Please keep your head. And know we hurt you, your brother. Thank you. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Anyone else on behalf of the span, on behalf of Joshua Span?
Yeah,
Is there anyone who would like to be heard on behalf of the Senate?
he does.
I'm Kelly Simpkins. I'm the father of Jubilee Simpkins. I appreciate this opportunity. Jubilee was a week old when she came to live with our family. She was my baby girl from the age, up until the age of 8 or 9. She was always on my shoulders, or if in church, she was on my lap. And I don't think, Mr. Cummins, you realize the pain and agony that you cause to people. It's really like a death by 1,000 cuts. It's the everyday things in life that we miss from our Jubilee. It's her busting in the house saying, and it's her getting the nicknames. It's us texting and saying, are you going to come for dinner tonight? All of those things are gone. It's Christmas. From the time our first child was born until this day, we always take a family photo at Christmas with Santa at the mall. From the time Jubilee was born till the time she died, we took a photo. And you can go at Christmas time and you can look at our table and you can see your 11 months, your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4. You can see Jubilee grow up in those photos. But that's never going to happen again. You've taken a daughter, a sister, an aunt, and a friend of many. And I don't think you realize what we had to go through. When we busted up to the scene, we weren't allowed to see her mom. And the questions that we asked ourselves, what was she thinking in those few minutes before she died? Was she in pain? Did she remember how much we loved her? We weren't allowed to see the body then, and by the time we got back to the funeral home, there was skin shrinkage, slippage. That's when the skin falls off the bone. When the medical examiner keeps the body that long, you have to do things to keep the skin on the bone. We had to wrap her in plastic. The night before the funeral, we had to go and get hose that would match her beautiful ebony skin to cover it up. And then by the time you get a body back from the medical examiner, the embalming, the efficacy of embalming diminishes. So there's that smell of death that lingers over the body. That's what we had to deal with. Mr. Cummins, you should know though that we don't hate you, that we have prayed for your soul almost every day, and we will do that until the day we're no longer able to do it. We want you to know we forgive you. But the one thing I've learned from the Bible, from survivors of the Holocaust, survivors of child abuse, is that there can be forgiveness and there can be justice. Some people think those are mutually exclusive. They're not. There can be justice and forgiveness. And so I would say to the families of and friends of Josh Span that we and we grieve with you for your loss. I would encourage you to remind yourself of the same thing I have to remind myself of, which is that old saying that bitterness is the pit, it's the poison you drink to kill somebody else. We can have justice without hate, and we can have punishment without revenge. And so I would encourage that. I would not be able to forgive you if it hadn't been for the fact that someone received the just punishment for my sins, Jesus. So I see it in the Bible, and I experience it in my life that there can be justice and forgiveness. And I hope that's something that you think about as you spend your life in prison. As far as the sentence goes, Judge, my family and I talked about it, and there are some things that make us feel less than charitable. The videotape from the jail, the lack of any remorse and admission of fault and guilt, the effort by him and his family members and his girlfriend to manipulate the system during the trial, the complete disregard for the court's order regarding the bond. There are things that have been posted about me and my daughter that are false and defamatory. But at the end of the day, what I want is a sentence that honors Jubilee and Josh's lives, but also wanted to honor Gwen and Kurt and Brad for the work that they did on this case. I wanted to honor Jermaine McGee and Capitol Police for what they did. And I wanted to honor the court because this trial was conducted with the greatest of dignity and professionalism. And so, really, when it comes to consecutive or concurrent, we just trust your wisdom and your experience on that. We don't offer an opinion on that. Thank you.
Anyone else who would have to say?
No,
Ms. Kelly, anyone who might be heard on behalf of?
Yes, ma'am, I believe the mother.
Here, I'm Jordan Cummins' mother, and I'm here to ask you for leniency in this sentencing. March 2023 ruined everyone's lives, for everyone involved. My heart goes out to the parents of the victims. No parent should ever have to bury their child, and I know for a fact how that feels. I had to bury my son at the age of 23, so I know that firsthand. Jordan deserves a second chance in life. He had no intentions of killing anyone that day. No one at all. There are several other people involved in all of this that should be charged also. I'll never ever understand why this generation thinks that everything should be handled with guns and violence. Guns and alcohol never mix. Jordan had a great job and was doing great and getting his life together before this all happened. He's not the devil that the media and the prosecutors have made him out to be. Please find it in your heart to have some leniency on his sentence.
Ms. Kelly?
I believe that's it. Besides, Mr. Cummins himself, he wants to make a statement.
Oh, you got it. Oh.
I just want to say that I deeply regret the deaths of Jubilee, Simpkins, and Joshua Spain. That wasn't my intention. And, I'm truly sorry to all the families. Really, really, I'm truly sorry. I don't know, I can't tell you that I know how it feels to lose a child, but I just want to give my condolences to the family.
Judge, I'd like to have it into the record, this has been, reviewed by the state, it is a letter to the court from Jenny Lucas.
All right, we'll add this as an exhibit to the record in its manner. We'll have clerk to make sure that it gets.
Judge, and this is, closing, I just had a few
You may.
consideration when it comes to court. Judge, Mr. Cummins, from his record, appeared that he has no felony record. The incident itself, the shooting itself, was not planned, it was not premeditated, it was a few seconds that, in which an awful result took place. But it was not his plan for any of this to happen. And I believe the court has heard in prior hearings that Mr. Cummins was a hard and reliable worker. We would ask the court to take into consideration that he was not having prior felonies, that this was not a planned attack, that it was basically a split-second event that resulted in the deaths of two individuals. Judge, we would ask that on that basis, and the words from the family and the words even from the family's victims' families, that the court would make these sentences run concurrently. And we believe there are appropriate grounds for doing so.
By the state.
Yes, Your Honor, the state would just like to add that Your Honor's side of the trial is a very long one, and has been on to the pendency of the history of this case, and we just refer to the court of whatever the sentence the court deems appropriate.
So one of the hardest challenges about being a judge is the issue of sentencing. And having been in the role of the prosecutor and been in the role of the defense, I can respect the positions they both have to endure. Both the prosecutor, who is trying to make sure that they give justice and that the right person is being charged appropriately, and advocating on behalf of that. And being a defense attorney in an overwhelming situation, trying to advise a client of the best course. Now, this court does not hold it against a person pursuing their right to trial. That is their right. And in listening to a trial, the court will take from that what is mitigation and what is aggravation. Later, after the determination by a jury is made, use that in trying to, with the best endeavor, fashion the appropriate sentence. I'm not a judge that automatically gives someone the maximum sentence just because they want to try. And sentencing is a very important part of this. It takes a lot of prayer and time and thought and observation. And I do agree with the state that in a moment, a person's life can change. And unfortunately, in a moment, lives did change. People lost loved ones, and unfortunately, so did the defendant's family. because nothing is harder at times than to send someone to prison. It is hard. The court is condemning that person to hell. It is not easy. So that's why this court takes it very seriously and does not dismiss what the obligation that I'm sworn to do. So I appreciate the comments from both families and take them to heart in this matter. And I have had an opportunity to observe Mr. Cummins, his demeanor, his effect, and I understand, having been in Mr. Keller's role, people do desperate things at desperate times. So I don't hold it against the defendant. Errors made, misjudgments made, and I don't hold it against the defendant, his perception of events and his defenses in the case. Those are his rights, and the court honors those rights. He had a right to defend himself, even in an impossible situation as it was after the events had occurred. So having heard everything, which is why the court allowed Ms. Kellum to be present, this is her child. And just as the Simpkins lost their child, and just as Mr. Spence lost their child, she's losing her child today as well. There are no winners. And it is very hard for this court to see someone who's lived 20-something years and know that what is about to happen. So the court is going to accept the information I have received. The court is satisfied that this defendant should not be sentenced to a consecutive sentence, only because this happened in a moment, only because the defendant had no prior convictions, only because the record indicates that sometimes the cooler heads have prevailed. The court is of the opinion, from what I saw on video, that this defendant may have at one point had an alcohol and drug problem. And then in that way, they may have impaired his judgment. That is not an excuse. That was not a finding. It was just an observation as a common person. And even observing when he provided his statement to the police, and even observing the rant that was videotaped, that is not the person that stands before me 2 years later, a year later. It's not. It doesn't even look the same. And also understanding the comments that were made about getting their life together. But unfortunately, a tragedy had to occur for that to happen. And that is unfortunate. So the court finds that the jury has found the defendant, Jordan Cummins, guilty of first-degree murder in count 1 and guilty of first-degree murder in count 2, finds the defendant shall be sentenced to a period of life in the custody of Mississippi Department of Corrections in count 1, and a sentence of life in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections in count 2, and that those sentences shall be served concurrently. That concludes the matter of the state of Mississippi versus Jordan Cummins. Thank you.
All right. Everyone is already standing. I need everyone except the media to stay in the courtroom. Everybody else exit out the courtroom at the door you came in at this time, please.
And you just heard it right there. Judge Faye Peterson is saying that Jordan Cummins is sentenced to life in prison, and his 2 counts of a first-degree murder, those 2 life sentences will run concurrently. So while he does have a sentencing of life in prison, instead of those running consecutively, where he would serve out one, and then when that one is done, serve out the other one. Instead, they're going to run together. So that is what has happened right now. We heard victim impact statements from the family of Joshua and also from the family of Jubilee, talking about just the pain of losing their loved one. Here we have Joshua Spann. He is one of the ones that lost his life, and then Jubilee Simpkins lost her life. Her father spoke there. We also had the mother of Cummins come and give a statement on his behalf. She said that if I heard correctly, which I know that the audio was a little hard to hear, I think it was because the people weren't talking directly into the microphone. But the mother, Jordan's mother, Jordan Cummins' mother, said that she had buried a child at the age of 23. The child was 23, so she knows what that feels like. If that is the case, we will make sure that we clarify that later tonight in our newscast. But she said in her statement that no family should ever have to bury their child. No mother should ever have to bury her child. And Faye Peterson also said today, Judge Peterson said that there are no winners in this. That when you look at it, that there are 3 mothers there today that are losing their children. Joshua Span's family, Jubilee Simpkins' family, they lost their loved ones back in March of 2023. And today, Jordan Cummins' mother is losing her son to prison because of his actions and his choices that he made that day near the House St. Patrick's Day parade. So what we have right now, though, is Judge Faye Peterson did sentence Jordan Cummins to life in prison, and those 2 counts of first-degree murder, those 2 charges are going to be run consecutively, those 2 sentences. So we're going to hear from Morgan Harris later tonight on our newscast. She will she was in the courtroom, and she will have a story for us later tonight. I'm sure she's going to try to speak with some of the family of maybe both sides of this. We're not sure yet, but we will definitely let you know about it. Make sure you're tuned into our newscast tonight, and you can hear more from Morgan Harris. We will be back here for WLBT Plus at 3:00 for a press conference that is going to be happening between the Mississippi agencies that work together in the homicide and Amber Alert case for Callie and her 4-year-old daughter, Erin. So make sure you're tuned in here at 3:00 for that. We will be back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.